Hello everyone, welcome back to another Roblox scripting tutorial. So, first of all, it's been a while, maybe like 8 months or so since the last video, but you know, whatever, it's a good time to get back into it. Roblox has released a few new things I want to cover with you guys. So today we're not going to be doing the lightsaber video. That will be releasing sometime this week, I'm hoping. I'm going to record it tomorrow, so yeah, that'll be releasing sometime soon. But today we're going to be talking about the viewport frame, which is something Roblox recently added, and we'll talk about it when we get there. Alright, so first thing I want to do is create a screen GUI in your starter GUI, and we're going to type viewport frame, and then we're going to get this beautiful white box. Now, this, for some of you guys who are familiar with GUI stuff, it really does look like a normal frame, right? But this viewport frame can do something very cool. Oh, also with the dragging around stuff, if you're in like the UI mode, so like if you click on one of these things, you can drag around objects, and yeah, it's just easy positioning. Anyway, so let's get rid of that frame, we don't need it. So this viewport frame basically allows you to put 3D objects into the GUI. So let me show you an example. Say we have this part in our workspace, just a normal part, and we want to put this part into this frame. What we do is we come down to our command bar at the very bottom, local C equals instance dot new camera, and then workspace. So this will create a new camera and put it into our workspace. Alright, and then we're going to do c.cframe. So we want to position, we want to change the coordinate frame of our camera to our current camera. So this will create a new camera and then move it to where our camera is currently looking. Alright, so it's basically just going to create a copy of our camera, and then we're going to make c.name equals new camera, just so we can differentiate. God, I can't speak. So, oh, what's that error? Oops. Yeah, so here where it says current camera, like in the workspace.current camera, you have to write .cframe. And then we put that in, and that's the bad camera. Oops. Oh, let me just redo that all. Just click it, and then we have our new camera here. So now if we come down to our viewport frame, if we drag this part inside the viewport frame, click on the viewport frame, scroll down to where it says current camera, click the empty box, and then click new camera, we'll see that now we just created that object inside of our GUI, or our viewport frame. And now we can do some really cool things with it. So if we select that and come down here to the orientation and we change the orientation, we'll see that it actually rotates inside the GUI. So let's create a simple script that will allow us to rotate this part, and then we will also create a minimap. This is actually a good point to point this out too. Because this is such a new feature, it's not actually available inside Roblox games yet. It's only available in Studio. So this is good practice, I guess, for scripting with this, but you won't actually be able to see it inside your Roblox game until they add the support for that, which should be coming in an update, I'm assuming sometime early 2019. So if you create a new local script, let's do local viewport. I'll make this a bit bigger. Equals script.parent wait for child viewport frame. So we create a new variable called viewport, and it's going to be this. So the script's parent, and then it's going to wait until viewport loads in. So when you start the game, not everything is already loaded into the game. So by saying wait for child, you basically just wait until the viewport frame has loaded. Because if you just did this, for example, dot viewport, frame, and the viewport frame hasn't loaded in yet, you're going to get an error and then your script won't work. So just this here, make sure that everything will work perfectly and yeah, the way you want it to. We're also going to make a new variable for our player, and that's just going to be game.players.local player. So that's the player currently playing on this system. So if you're playing a game, that's you, alright? And then we want to make one more for mouse, and that's going to be player get mouse. And that will basically give us access to the mouse and keyboard, but we're just going to use it for the mouse. So we want to create a script that will allow us to rotate this part. And to do that, we're going to do, let's create a variable for the part too. So local part equals viewport, wait for child, and then part, because the name of the part is part. So basically same thing, we're referencing the viewport variable, which is this object over here. And then we're going to wait until this part is actually loaded into the game. So first line of code, it's going to be mouse.move connect function. So when the mouse moves, we're going to run this segment of code. Alright, so let's create a few variables. We're going to do local button down equals false, local old x equals 0, local old y equals 0. So this variable, so that variable is going to be used for when we click down like the second mouse button to rotate it, because we don't want it to rotate all the time. We just want it to rotate when we hold down the mouse button and move our cursor around. So let's do mouse.button2 down connect function. So when you hit the right mouse button, this function or this event here will fire, and then it will allow us to write this segment of code. And this is when we want to make the button down variable go to true. Now let's copy this, enter a few times and paste, and change button 2 down to button 2 up. So when you release the mouse button, it will change the variable to false. Alright, I'm just going to zoom out a bit so I can see a bit more of the script. So when the mouse moves, we want to check to see if the button is currently down. So let's do if button down then. So this checks to see if button down is true. And if it is true, we want to change the C frame of our part. So part.cFrame. Wait, don't write that. Okay, first we have to check to see if we moved our mouse to the left, to the right, up, or down. So up here we're going to write old x equals mouse.x, old y equals mouse.y. And you'll see why I'm doing the old x and old y in just a second here. So mouse.x is the current x coordinate of where our mouse is currently positioned, and the y is the y. So x is horizontal, y is vertical. So if mouse dot how do I want to do this? If mouse dot x. All right, so let me explain it. So when you click down the button, it will save the current position of your cursor. All right, and when you move it, this function here will fire. So if the mouse.x is less than old x, then, oops, I just forgot to write if. So if the mouse.x is less than the old x, that means we had to move to the left. So let's just write a comment by writing. So when you write a comment, if you put these two like minus signs and you write something after that, when the code actually runs in the game, we'll basically just skip over it and ignore it. So this is a very neat way to write little notes inside your code. So let's just copy all this, paste it 3 times, change this to a greater than sign, and change that to right, change that y, change that x to a y and that x to a y, and then type down, and then y, and then change that to a greater sign, type up. So yeah, if our y moves up, it's or if our y is greater, that means we moved up. If it's less, we move down. Alright, and then let's do, how do we want to do this? Part.cFrame equals part.cFrame times cFrame.angles 0, 0, 0. So this will basically allow us to rotate the part. So this will take the part's current C-frame, keep it, and then times it by this rotation value. So if I change this to say 0.01, and we go into our game to test by clicking test and play. See this part here? If I hold down the right mouse button and move it to the right, what's happening here? I mean, it's clearly working. Let me try something. If I put in a frame, how do I want to do this? Okay, let me try making this scriptable for a sec. Alright, so you see, when I move my mouse to the left, it rotates. So that's what we want. It's a bit buggy right now. Alright, let's try to fix that. What if I make this a 0.1? Will that make it a bit more obvious? Perhaps? Alright, so let's, just to see this work, let's get rid of this line there and this end down there. So we can see that with, because when you hold down, the way Roblox works, like with the rotation like this of the camera, when you hold down the right mouse button, the mouse stops moving. So if we disable that, then we can move our mouse around and we can have full functionality. You know, actually no, let's get rid of those comments and we'll just change this to mouse button 1. So when we hit the left mouse button, this will activate. And then we don't have to worry about the camera's rotation interfering. There we are, okay. And I noticed one more thing. We have to come down to the bottom here. Old x equals mouse.x. Old y equals mouse.y. So after it runs through all this, we want to update that. So when we run through it again, we'll get the right values. Let's just copy this line, paste it in there, paste it in there, paste it in there. Because this goes left, and we said 0.1, and this goes right, we'll just change it to negative, so it basically just goes the other way. We'll change this to 0. These are different axes. So this one will rotate it. Here, let me show you. When we put it in the middle, which is the Y position, it rotates like this. If we put one in the X position, which is the first one, I'm pretty sure it will rotate like that. And then the Z, pretty sure will rotate like that. But there's only one way to find out. I'm not an expert at this. I'm just guessing right now. Let's put that in there, that in there. Also, let's change this part, orientation back to 0, 0, 0. Alright, so if we move it down and up. Alright, so left and right is working. Oh, I forgot one thing, didn't I? Yep. So for up, let's remove that negative. So we can move it left, right, up, and down. So if you copy the code correctly, you should be able to move your part up, down, and depending on its orientation, left or right. So yeah, so that's an easy way to make your block move around. So we can get rid of all this code, we don't need it now. And let's talk about making a minimap. So let's just make a really simple village, so anchor that. This is going to be just a road. Don't mind my building abilities, it's just meant to be quick. Let's make a pink building, a blue building, and a white building. Look at that. Now in the workspace, let's create a new folder, and let's name this roads. And we're going to make another one called buildings. Let's copy, or let's put all our buildings, oops, these parts here into buildings, and our road into roads. So this is just an easy way to organize all of our stuff inside the workspace. And so remember last time when we wanted to make this viewport frame work, we dragged a part inside the viewport frame. Well, this time we're going to make a script that just takes the part from the workspace and puts it inside the viewport frame for us. So let's create a new local script. So same thing, local viewport equals script.parent. Wait for child viewport frame. Local roads equals workspace wait for child roads, and then local buildings equals workspace wait for child. Oh, look at that, I spelled roads wrong. Huh. Alright. So when the game starts, the script will load, and we want to clone everything inside those folders and put it into our viewport frame. So actually, I wonder if we just, I'm just gonna do this quickly. Alright, cool. Okay, that makes it way easier. Okay, so let's just do roads. It's gonna clone it, and then we're going to parent it to the viewport. The same thing with buildings. So clone literally just creates a copy of it, and then we just change this parent into our viewport frame. So when the script loads, the camera angle is going to be really horrible, but we'll see that we can see our pink building and our road. Because remember, the camera is like right about here in the world, right? So we come out, but we're going to get rid of this new camera. We don't want it anymore. We're going to create our new camera to work with our minimap. So local camera equals instance.new camera, and we're going to put it into the workspace. We're going to make the camera.camera type equals scriptable, so we can edit it the way we want. And we're going to change, we're going to create a new variable. We're going to call this variable height. We're going to make it 50. So this is how high the camera will sit above. So basically what we're doing, when we create our minimap, we're going to make a camera that sits above our map like this and looks down. And this image is what you'll see inside this viewport frame. So if I just copy those and put that in, and then change the current camera to camera, you'll see that. So this is what our minimap will basically look like. It just look like that. All right. So let's change the viewport dot current camera to our newly created camera, and let's get the run service. I'll explain this in a sec. So basically, this will fire every single frame. So like a frame refreshes like what, 60 frames per second. You guys hear that term sometimes, right? 55 frames per second, whatever. So every frame, this function will run, and we want our camera to move every frame so it stays above our player. So we're going to do camera.cFrame equals cFrame.new, and we're going to create a new variable quickly for our player. Let's create that up here. Local player equals game.players.localPlayer. And then we're just gonna do a player.Character added wait. So this will just wait until our character is added to the game, so we don't run it before our character is there. Because remember here, like I said, you want it to wait for the viewport frame. Well, same thing. We don't want to run our code before the character loads, because in this function here, we're going to call on our character. So player.Character humanoid root part position. By the way, this script will work for R6 or R15 or rthrow. I don't even know if that's different. I've never played with it, so I don't know. Rthrow, whatever. So yeah, so we're going to take our humanoid root parts position, and we're going to plus. Actually, no. Let's create a variable. Local position equals. We're just going to select that and move it up. All right, so 0, 0, 0. All right, so we're going to make a new vector 3 by using the position.x, position.z, and our height. So this will basically, okay, the reason why we're using C-frame here is because the camera needs to be written in a C-frame. All right, that's the type it takes. So we make a new C-frame, but then we put a vector 3 into it. We're taking the X part of our humanoid root part position, which is in every single character. It's like the torso part, basically, but it's not the torso part. And then, so we take the X part, we move it up to our height variable, and we take the position, Z position. So this will move our camera up, just keep it above our player the whole time. So if we spawn in now, there's no errors that I can see. Alright, so you see how it's moving. The minimap is moving. It's not looking down though. So let's put a comma in there and type in, oops, that's not what I wanted. Type in position. And that should make it look down towards our character. Alright, there we go. Let's move the height up slightly though. Let's make it 100. So basically this makes a new C-frame, or sorry, so this vector 3 is like the camera's height, but then we tell it to look at that position. So it looks down to where our humanoid root part is. Alright, so there we go, we have our minimap. I'm going to move it out even more. So one more thing we have to do is, as you can see, the minimap, it's moving, it's working, but we can't really see where our player is. So let's make one more thing. In our viewport frame. Oh, sorry, let's get rid of these buildings and roads, just to see if it works without. Yeah, see, it works fine. It clones it fine. Yeah, all that's good. So let's create an actual part. Oh, we're going to make it in our workspace first. So part. So this is what the player will see as them. So let's change the size to 444. Make it neon and white. And let's move this inside the viewport frame and name it character. And let's go down here. Viewport frame. Now we're going to make a variable, aren't we? Local char part equals viewport frame wait for child. We named it character. So let's do char part dot C frame equals C frame. Okay, let's make this easy. We just copy that and type in C frame, and that will just, yeah, we'll just make it so the part goes to our humanoid root parts C frame, and then we can see ourselves there. Now that's not very big, so let's click our character and type in 10, 10, 10. Oh, that's 1, 10, 10, 10. It's a bit bigger now. So there you are. Now you can see yourself on your minimap. And you guys could crazy. You guys could put like a union of an arrow in, so like it looked like an arrow. And what's cool about Viewport Frame 2 is we can make the background completely transparent. So now you can have a mini map that's transparent. You can also make it untransparent again, make it black maybe, or like a dark gray, so you can see. Oh, you guys also notice we copied the whole map except the base plate, right? So if I make this transparent, you think that the base plate should be in our minimap, right? But it's not, because it's only taking the stuff that's in the buildings and roads folder, right? So if we come in here and we just make a new building quickly, just cloning it and moving it. I'm still in test mode. Oops. If we make a like a new building, like this blue one, we don't have to do any script editing. We just make it, put it in, click test, or we play our game, and it's already in. It's just there. Super easy. So this is a very simple way to create a minimap using the new viewport frame. Like I said earlier, it won't be visible in your games yet, but when Roblox releases support for it, your scripts will work automatically. So all your hard work now will pay off in the end. While I have you guys here, I do want to mention one thing. So I created a new group. It's the Letus Gardens. The same thing with the Discord name. I'm also going to be changing the YouTube channel name to the Letus Garden. I pronounce it lettuce, guys, by the way, not lettuce like some of you people. It's the Lettuce Garden. Don't judge the way I spell lettuce. It's unique. It's awesome. Anyways, yeah. So I'm going to be posting what we work on videos there. So if I save this and I save it to the Lettuce Garden, if I can find it. There it is. So if I create a new place, I'm just going to name it Viewport Frame Minimap. I'll make it public for you guys. Access. And let's talk about this for a sec too. When you publish a game, you can change the name, change the description. Genre literally does nothing. Don't worry about that. Thumbnail, you can take a little snapshot in your game. So, I don't know, like this. Beautiful, isn't it? Access, so how many players do you want in your game? Because I'm a dev form member, I can have up to 200. I'm not sure if you guys can. I think you guys are maxed at 100. I'm not sure though. But whatever, let's just, for fun, let's make it 200. This, that's personal preference for you guys. Like, honestly, Roblox optimizes it pretty well. Playable devices, everything. For console, you will have to agree or disagree if your game follows certain sets of rules. Our game's definitely fine for that. There's definitely no blood or gore here. Access, yeah, we want everyone to be able to access it. No VIP servers. Advanced settings. We want bubble chat and chat above your head. And I'm going to allow copying so you guys will be able to edit the game. And I'll show you guys how to do that. If you guys want certain types of Roblox gear to automatically be usable in your game, you guys just click what genre you want here. I'll just select it all so you guys can see how that works. And we're going to create the place. And here, Roblox gives you a bunch of different ways to start making money from your games and a link. So you can start sending it to your friends, like they said, get players in your game. So if we go here, refresh this page. Oh, let me just make it so group games are visible real quick. Save. And then we go back to the group. Okay, there it is. So viewport frame. And of course, Roblox isn't working. Alright, there. So if you guys want to edit the game, you just click these three buttons and click edit, and then you'd be able to access the game. But so you can also just click play, and we can just test the game quickly. So now we're in the game. You see Roblox automatically lets all the gear that we selected in the game. Wow, the So like I said about the lightsabers, I'll be releasing my tutorial for it with the animations and everything very soon. That's BB-8, or not BB-8, the black version of BB-8, the Imperial version.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want a llama?
Move.
Anyways, yeah, so that's the end of this video.
Bye.
So like I said, in game you will not see the minimap, so it's not there, but in studio you will. And yep, all our hard work will pay off once Roblox releases support for it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give a thumbs up, like the video, subscribe to the channel because I'm going to be posting more often now. Thank you. Bye.